Okay, people, welcome back to another edition of Figure of Fodder, where I take a quick, well, as quick as I get, a quick look at some figures that may be older, may not deserve their own long-winded reviews, figures I don't know a lot about, which I have in this edition, or just stuff that I picked up, wanted to take a quick look at, get it open, get it onto the shelf. But to go back to a review I did earlier in the week, I took a look at the Descend models Tom and Jerry, and a lot of you thought I was super negative about it. I was, kinda, because I get frustrated with loose joints when it doesn't want to pose or stand up. And for the most part, I had that problem with Tom. Super loose ankles, loose hinge in the neck. But I love the look of both figures, especially Tom. So I'm going to take some floor polish or some clear nail polish, go back, fix him up, tighten up the joints, and he'll be great in the display. But starting out today's quick looks, I picked up the Medicom MAFEX Star Wars Sandtrooper. I wanted to give theirs a look. I have most of the Stormtroopers from other companies except Figuarts. I know they're a little bit small, but I will be getting the Mimban Stormtrooper, so I'll have something from everybody soon. But I love the look of this. Yeah, the helmet seems a little bit off, the dome is a little bit high, and the figure is definitely crotchy. Just a long crotch. I think up to the waist, it scales nicely with other figures, but then it blows out once it goes above the waist. But the sculpt here, I like it. Sure, a couple of things are off, but you get that overall Stormtrooper feel to it. And then, of course, the finish. That's what I like most about this. It's not super dirty. It's like he's only been out on patrol a couple of times. He's not a seasoned vet like some of the more dirtier Sandtroopers we have. But the overall dirty scheme of it, something about that appeals to me. But it's when I try to put it up in my mixed display. I have Black Series, I have MAFEX, I have SH Figuarts, I have whatever, model kits, whatever else I can fit into the 6-inch scale. And here, this comes out a little bit big. Not just height, but also the helmet's big. The proportions are a little bit big, which is fine if you're only buying MAFEX, but if you're doing a mixed display like me, it doesn't really work. Which is a shame because the articulation is pretty nice, and like I said, the look itself. Now, it does have the shoulder pads attached to the torso, which I don't really like in the MAFEX line. It kind of, it scares me. I'm just going to come out and say it. It scares me that if I overextend it, it's just going to break off. But I will say the QC on this is more what we've been seeing lately, not C-3PO. He never moves from that spot right there. He's leaning against the wall, and if I try to pick him up, he falls apart. This isn't like that. So if you're only buying MAFEX, I give this a try. I still need to try the original Stormtrooper, which I'm kind of scared of because it came early in the line. But the nice sculpt of the backpack, I don't know. I want to say figure, but it would be in the background somewhere, or, you know, he's laying on the ground, or, you know, behind the dewback, whatever. Next up is the Bandai Machine's SH Figuarts Suicide Squad Deadshot. Now, I bought this maybe the end of the summer last year. Have just never got around to opening it up. I was perfectly happy with the MAFEX version, and this just got lost in the pile, I'll admit it. Now, looking at the figure itself, I love the sculpt here, and the proportions. I'll say that before I get too far. All the armor plates are sculpted nicely, the guns, the wrinkles, the boots. I love looking for stuff on this figure. But when it comes to paint, especially the grays and the reds, it's vibrant, it sticks out at me. But the more I look, the more I see that they missed stuff here and there. The pants come out looking super plain. There's just no detail painting to them. I would have liked to seen some highlight or some wash to it. It'd bring out the wrinkles, bring out the details. And while they hit the silver studs on the chest plate, because those are right up in your face, when you get down below the waist, the buckles and studs there aren't painted on like the pistol grip, the holster, or get down to the boots. There's no different paints for the laces or whatever you call those rings that the laces go through. I don't know, I just feel like they missed some opportunities here. And then you get into the details they missed. They didn't get the writing around his neck or in various other places that the MAFEX did. And then up at the head, I feel like this is close to Will Smith, but it's not quite Will Smith. There's just a sadness to it that I didn't really get from the movie. Well, yeah, the whole kid thing, I get. But to go for this look on the figure, I feel like it was kind of a miss. Keeping up the comparison with the MAFEX, I just like it better. I like the skin tone a little bit better, and I like the look. But get to the masked head, and this is where I kind of lean towards the SH Figuarts version. It's just a great detailed sculpt that sticks out. It stands out next to other figures, and it works better proportionally overall. I think the unmasked head is a little bit large. This works with the overall body. Now, articulation-wise, this is the first time I think I've seen a forward swing-out butt butterfly joint on an SH Figuarts. I'm not saying this is the first one they've ever done. This is the first one I've ever noticed. Hell, I may have a figure up somewhere that has that I didn't see the first time around. And they really go out of their way to point out the armor over the abs is articulated. And the first time I moved it around, it was like, what the hell is going on here? But it does seem to help a little bit, but if you over crunch it, it pops that off the joint, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. But he's got his wrist guns, he has the pistol on his hip, he has the 2 pistols on his back, but none of the pistols come out of their holsters. They're just sculpted to the figure. That kind of sucks. He does come with extra sets of hands. He comes with 2 fists. He comes with 2 splayed out hands, and then he comes with the 2 hands to hold his rifle, which I will admit the rifle is pretty cool. But again, they missed the writing detail down the side, which MAFEX nailed. Now, scale is what I was a little bit worried about when it came to this, and yes, it's Figuarts scale. Why would they scale their stuff to anybody else? But when MAFEX did it, they scaled up all their Suicide Squad figures for whatever reason. Medicom being Medicom. But when it comes down to it, I think I like the Medicom offerings a little bit more. Now, yes, the SH Figuarts Harley is freaking awesome, but as an overall display, I prefer the Medicom. But take this Deadshot and put him next to any of the Marvel Figuarts figures, he fits right in. And yes, I realize in this picture that I did put the Dark Knight Joker MAFEX version down on the end with the Figuarts. That was kind of dumb. But when it comes to that line, the Figuarts and the MAFEX are scaled perfectly together, so that works. It's just the Suicide Squad figures. Again, Medicom. So I'll probably sneak this in to my display next to my Captain Jack or the Harley that I have out of place with the rest of my DC stuff. And he'll go on the shelf. I like the overall proportions, but this is more like the comic book version of the movie version, if that makes sense whatsoever. Next up, I was able to find the Hasbro Marvel Legends Avengers Infinity War Vision and Scarlet Witch 2-pack. And I say able to find because my Toys R Us closed down months ago, and before they closed down, they weren't getting anything new, especially nothing like this. So I went to Toys R Us up north about an hour. They were down to 30%. I found these. I had a few to pick from. I think they had an extra 10% off. The dude didn't even give me a bag. He scanned it, handed it back to me. I walked out the door. Now, the Scarlet Witch from the set, this is essentially the same body we got with the first Scarlet Witch. Same corset, same pants, same boots, same coat. I will say that this one, though, it's a little bit rubbery in the knees and maybe the ankles. I don't remember the first version being like that. But the big difference here is when we get up to the head. Hasbro's photo reel is it's changing the game, at least at mass retail. Pretty damn lifelike. It's not always 100% accurate, but it looks damn good. And then for Vision, they had to do a whole new body. It has the little nubs all over it, kind of robotic tech stuff all over, the individual boots, the gauntlets, and I will say they did a great job here. The details are a joy to look at. I know that sounds weird, but I've been looking at it for the past 10-15 minutes going, oh, that's kind of neat. It's kind of weird that the boots are offset around the leg a little bit from the knee, but I'm not going to complain about that too much. And then the cape, I love how it's kind of translucent. You can kind of see through it. Plus, the colors just evoke that comic look. And I know that's more the MCU design, not Hasbro, but it comes across really well here. And then get up to the head, I went through the Scarlet Witches and a couple had splotches on her face. The best Scarlet Witch I could find had this Vision head kind of looking to the right. I'm kind of okay with it. I think a Vision is kind of a thoughtful character. He's gonna, well, unless he's just blasting away and, you know, there goes Rhodey. And him kind of looking off to the side like this, I feel like it fits the character. Not all of them were like that, but that's the one I chose. Now, Scarlet Witch, if you have the first one, you know she scales pretty well with the rest of the Hasbro MCU figures, but Vision seems a little bit small, and I know this Captain America's old. For some reason, I haven't been buying the Infinity War figures. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen them. I just haven't picked them up. But next to Captain America, he looks a little bit small, he looks a little bit skinny, but most of my MCU display is SH Figuarts, and you can fudge him into that display. Sure, he may be a little bit tall, but he's a robot. To hell with it. Of course, you could use that logic going around the other way, too. He's a robot. He's a little bit small. He doesn't need to be a big powerhouse in order to, you know, use his powers and kick some ass. I like the look of these both together. It makes me want to get more Infinity War figures, which I plan on doing. I just haven't done it yet. It's kind of stupid, actually. They're out there, but man, there's a lot of Legends out there. These two figures definitely going on the shelf. In fact, one is replacing the older version. The other one may be on a flight stand to kind of offset that size difference. And then finally, here's one of those things where people go, hey, stupid, why don't you go play the game? It's fun. It's amazing. You like the toys, apparently. You probably like the game. But here's the Square Enix Bring Arts Nier Automata Machine 2-pack. A couple of months ago, I reviewed 2B and Machine, and 2B was okay. She has her problems. I don't like the size, but I love the robot. So I went back and ordered this 2-pack. It just released this week. And yes, it's a new item, but because of my dumbness when it comes to the property, and it's essentially the first Machine figure with a bunch of attachments, I thought just throw it in a figure of fodder. Hell with it. But one of the reasons I love this figure, the articulation is a little bit wonky, but the sculpt of it, the size of it, again, it's because of the game, but Square Enix did a good job of translating that to plastic. I just love stuff like this. The hole showing, some bolts, some screws, the workings of the robot. This is right up my alley. And just to reiterate, this is the same sculpt as the first one. It's just pink eyes or red eyes compared to the no color to the original one. But the accessories is what makes this set. I don't love every single one of them, but there's some great stuff going on here. First of all, if you look at the instructions, it doesn't make it too clear how exactly to switch out some of these parts. The biggest thing here is that the body splits this time. You have to pull the front off, then you have to pull the back off, and that's how you get to the inner workings and to do most of the changes. But first is the two longer legs. You essentially split it, you pull the inner workings out, you pop the legs off, and then on these longer legs you split the thigh, put the pins in, put it back together, and there you have it. Look at it and you'll go, man, those are some thin legs. There's no way that body's standing. I have had luck getting it to stand, but it also comes with a figure stand to help it stand up. And the cool thing about this, it kind of plugs up into the body, so there's no peg. It stays, it's kind of out of the way. Of course there's a peg coming down from between its legs, but it's better than this thing falling over all the time. It also comes with a sword. I love the look of this thing. You know, pieced together, bolted together. They took some junk, just threw something together and made a badass sword out of it. Hell, I kind of want one of these in real life now. But it comes with an alternate hand to hold the sword. And it's a little bit heavy for the thinness because, if you remember from the first review, Machine likes to come apart at its joints. You can't get too crazy with it. You hold it together, move the joints, but it will hold a pose, so there is that. Now it also comes with extra attachments for the arms, or a body attachment that you're supposed to use without the arms, however you want to look at it. Again, you split the body apart, and there's pegs that go into the side of this attachment. But what I suggest is putting the pegs in and leaving them there. They are tight as hell to get through there. And you're better off taking the side of the attachment off and pegging it into the body at the same time. It just works out way better all the way around. Now it does come with two of these attachments, but separate attachments for the attachments, you know what I mean. One of them's kind of a machine gun look, and then there's the saw blade. Now for scale, here they are with some 3A World War robot figures. I like the aesthetic all the way around. They're not quite as dirty as the 3A figures, but they still fit the overall look. And then here they are with Gus. Back in my day, we didn't need robots to do everything for us. Hell, that's why we had kids. But because I love the look of these, and I love the attachments now. I have 3 of these, 1 from the 2B pack, 2 from this 2-pack. I can make each one an individual. One with the long legs, one with the attachment, one to leave just as the standard Machine look. These are all figures. I don't know where I'm going to put them, but they're going on the shelves somewhere. So as you can probably hear, it started raining. The window's right there. I can't keep the sound out any longer, but that's all I wanted to take a look at today anyway, so apparently I control the weather with my mood. So just to recap, the Medicom MAFEX Sandtrooper figure, fodder, depends on my mood any given day. The S.H. Figuarts Deadshot is not going in my main DC display, but it'll go in with my movie figures, my Captain Jack, my Figuarts Harley. It looks too good to just toss in the fodder bin. Marvel Legends Vision and Scarlet Witch 2-pack, figures. Because that figures. And then the Square Enix Bring Arts Nier Automata Machine 2-pack, definitely figures. I don't know where they're going, but they're going somewhere because they're badass. So if you like this edition of Figure of Fodder or have anything you want to argue about, let's talk about it down in the comments section. Throw me a like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the Fwoosh. I don't know how much I like doing this in the toy room. This chair is squeaky. I don't like the lighting yet. I need to work on that. But it's better than being in front of the green screen, right? This is a little bit more dynamic. If you have any questions about any of the figures, even though I haven't moved much around, just comment. I'll answer it.